Hi people, me again, Marino Ravenberg. The topic that I'm going to discuss in this video is how to get rid of the fear of death, or at the very least accept it. You can find the article in the link in the description below. And yeah, this is a common topic. A lot of people are absolutely scared shitless of death. No joke. They're just scared shitless. End of story. You've got a good deal of people out there. I've seen them, and to someone like me, it's obviously ludicrous. But yeah, a lot of people, mundane people, are afraid of death. They're just terrified. The notion or concept of dying is just absolutely terrifying to them, and it defies. Honestly, it goes against logic. But yeah, the fear of death is simply a primitive fear, if you want to call it that. In any case, I'm simply going to discuss this topic as well as give tips on how to overcome it if you're one of those people. If you're watching this video and you're one of those people that is afraid of death, keep all the things that I'll be saying from this point out in mind. Not that you shouldn't keep what I already said in mind, but so to speak. Keep everything I'm about to say in mind, and you'll see that as it gains root in you or inside you, spiritually, as my words gain root inside you spiritually, you'll be able to overcome your fear of death, quote unquote, overcome your fear of death. I, for one, personally, am not afraid of death. Dare I say that I look forward to death, because I know what's coming, to put it that way, more or less, at the very least in broad terms. But enough of that. In any case, I'm going to read from my own article, and I'll be elaborating where elaborations are necessary. A lot of people are terrified of death. Usually these people are more cowardice compared to the average person. No offense to anyone, of course. Almost needless to say, death shouldn't and need not be feared. I explain why, and at the same time give tips on how to alleviate this fear or get rid of it altogether below. Point 1, acceptance. Death is at the very least one of the many things, death is at the very least one of the many things we as human beings cannot control or have control over. And as such, it shouldn't be feared, since it lies outside your control. From dust to dust is point 2. Everything that has a beginning has an end, and expecting to live forever is unrealistic. You were born and you must therefore die, based on this logic. Point 3, not the end. Contrary to what the non-religious people believe or might believe, death is not, I repeat, death is not the end of your being. So yes, you do go on. Last point, fear will only make things worse. The aforementioned is self-explanatory. Being afraid of death, especially when on your deathbed or on the cusp of it, will generally speaking make things rigid rather than smooth. It contributes to the unpleasantness in such a case. And for the rest, I have a couple of interesting things embedded aside from this video. I have a scene from the movie Gladiator where Marcus Aurelius, or the actor, better said, that portrays him. I can't put my finger on his name. Doesn't matter. Bottom line is a clip from a movie that pretty much drives this point also home, or helps driving it home, where the character from the movie Gladiator, the main character, he's being addressed, and he simply says, "Death smiles at us all. All that a man can do is smile back." And that's literally and as well as figuratively speaking the case. And not to mention, a notorious criminal by the name Robert Elton Harris also said this, which, as far as sources can say, I can't say for sure. The bottom line is, as far as sources can say or tell, he uttered the phrase upon his execution: "You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everybody dances with the Grim Reaper." Something that I love so much. Not just because it rhymes, this really drives the point home. This really drives it home. Throughout the article, I have one or two links, specifically at the point acceptance and at the point not the end. If you click on those links, you'll be redirected to other articles of mine that give further elaboration on these points specifically. Okay, if you're someone that really likes to look in stuff into detail. So yeah, what else can I say? Elaboration time. Acceptance. That there are so many things in the world that you can't control, that you have no control over. So many things you can't control. Where you wanted to be born, you cannot control the very fact that you wanted to be born. You have no say in the matter. It's simply a hint at not having free will. You didn't choose squat. You didn't choose to look the way you do. You didn't choose to have the voice that you have. You didn't even choose your name. Nothing. You're born, and everything is just, life is just thrown into your face. Literally, life is just thrown into your face like a ball thrown at you, a dodgeball, and yeah, you just have to cope with it. It's that simple, okay, bluntly put. From dust to dust. Yeah, from dust thou cometh, and to dust thou shalt return it. Okay, everything that has a beginning has an end. Everything, okay? All things that once had a beginning, as in it rose to power or similar, it simply came into existence, and everything, okay? That's the natural cycle of things. God is the only one that is everlasting. That's the way that God has created the world. Even if you're someone that doesn't believe in God, let's just call it the omnipotent universe, etc., whatever you want to call it or him. Bottom line is that that's the way the world has been designed, okay? Everything that has a beginning has an end. All things, okay? Nothing is everlasting except for what I mentioned before, or whom I mentioned before, okay? Except for God himself. Not the end. Yeah, contrary to what non-religious people such as atheists and agnostics eventually or optionally might believe, or death is not the end of your being. You're not some TV that when you die, that it's just lights out and that's it. Generally speaking, at the very least, no, that's not it, okay? Honestly, a death like that, or having that happen to you after that, is definitely not a good omen. You can almost put it on equal footing to death, more or less. Yeah. Put it on equal footing. Put it on equal footing with hell. Point is that death is not the end. Okay, you don't just shut off and it's all over like you're some robot. No. Okay, you do go on, and click the link on go on if you want further elaboration on that. Fear will only make things worse. Yeah, okay. If you're on your deathbed, or when you're on your deathbed, or when you're on the verge of dying, the entire way that you deal with it in that moment, similar to when dealing with hazardous situations, determines the outcome, or at the very least, it determines the way you experience the outcome. If you're someone that's not going to be smooth and flexible, you're terrified of death, and you literally basically die kicking and screaming and just rejecting death despite the fact that you have nothing to reject for reasons I already mentioned before, then yeah, okay, it's gonna be very unpleasant. It's like waking up in the most it's like waking up, you were asleep and you woke up, and instead of actually waking up in a normal way and just going about your day smoothly and giving your physical body the chance to really, wake up, you just jump up immediately and you start doing a bunch of crap and start grabbing stuff and so on. The entire experience will be jarring in such a case, as in you'll feel nauseous, or you'll have a headache, even like a hangover. That's because you didn't give your body the chance to actually wake up properly. You didn't wake up properly. You immediately started gallivanting about before you even had a chance to wake up properly, before your astral as well as your physical body had a chance of waking up, or properly coming into the waking world, so to speak. Again, it's the same thing more or less with death. Just going kicking and screaming and fighting and just being rigid overall, as opposed to being flexible, it's just going to make things worse. Definitely not so recommended, to put it that way. And yeah, that's it. Okay. Again, Robert Elton Harris's thingy, his saying, "You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everybody dances with the Grim Reaper." Really love that saying, and it doesn't need any explanation, but I'm still going to explain on it. It doesn't matter who you are. That's the most beautiful thing of things that we do not control. It doesn't matter who you are, and similar to all the other things that you can't control, death does not care about your position in life. Death does not care about your status. Death doesn't care what you look like. Death does not care about how much money you have. Death doesn't care about how young you are, how old you are. Death doesn't care whether you leave loved ones behind or whether you have no one, or death doesn't care whether you have pets that need taking care of. Death does not give a flaming fuck. Okay? Similar to a bunch of other things such as reality and etc. etc. A bunch of things that we do not control as human beings. Death doesn't care. Death only cares about the fact that you're alive, that you came into existence once, and it's time to go. And death is gonna cut that proverbial cord, and it's all over, so to speak. So yeah, death doesn't care. End of story. Remember that. I repeat, death does not care. So that's it. Enjoy the article if you enjoy reading more than listening to what I have to say. And I'll see you guys later. Ciao. Moino Ravenberg out.